Hi everyone, MJ Racadio here, and you are watching Entertainment Vlog. This week is a music episode. What is the key to be a successful artist? Our next guest, he is based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. His name is Marshall Charloff. Let's get to know him. You may learn a thing or two amid the quarantine.
As I told you, this is a very special episode because he is the official artist to carry on the torch, actually to pay tribute to Prince, a global icon. And he's actually up-and-coming celebrity or music icon in his generation. His name is Marshall Charloff. We got him right now. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity, Marshall.
MJ, it's a pleasure to be with you. Looking forward to chatting.
Yes, absolutely. And we were just talking earlier. Talk about a little bit. When did you get started performing in Minnesota?
I was in a band with Prince's cousin when I was 18. So it was, I was just out of high school. And Prince was the biggest pop star on earth. And he was a hometown kid. We all grew up in this, and it was, Prince would be showing up at the local venues, and he was just our guy. And slowly he was adopted by the world. So when I was in a band with his cousin, I had the opportunity to meet Prince through his cousin, and we used to get to go to Prince's rehearsals.
How is that like, meeting Prince in person?
Well, it was surreal, as you could imagine.
Yes.
The first time I met him, it was before Paisley Park had been constructed. So he was renting a warehouse in a little suburb of Minneapolis. And I rolled up. I had a motorcycle similar to the one that he had, the iconic motorcycle, and I just had that same one. And we rolled up, and he was just out on the lawn, just having a little picnic with a couple of beautiful women, as you would imagine Prince to be doing. And I had his cousin on the back of my motorcycle, and so we just walked up to him, and his cousin's name was Frank, who was my bandmate, my buddy. And Frank said, "Hey, Prince, hey, cuz," I think he said, "Hey, cuz, this is that guy I was telling you about, Marshall." And he put his hand out, shook my hand like a normal dude would. And but then he said something like a normal dude wouldn't say. He asked me, he said, "Hi, Marshall, I got to ask you something. Do you lie?" And I said, "What? Do you lie?" was the question he asked me. First
that's
he ever said to me. And I'm 18, and I'm a little scared and intimidated to be in his presence. And I said,
"Yeah,
well,
absolutely. I mean, he's very popular, and yeah, that's probably one of your memorable, the greatest encounter with the global icon." Well, moving forward, now you were influenced by him. Now you are doing music, and you are actually, I heard some of your interviews that you've done paying tribute to him even before he passed away. Talk about that a little bit.
Many years before he passed away. So Dr. Fink from Prince and the Revolution, the original keyboard player and the longest tenured member to ever work with Prince, he and I have been friends since that, not quite since that day, but I met him the same day that I met Prince. Wow. And then I was fortunate to be signed to Pepe Willie's record company. Some of the fans that really go deep with Prince will know who Pepe Willie is. It's the original Prince recordings of 94 East. I was signed.
That's amazing. Imagine that's like his original, and then you signed on. That's like amazing.
I'm on so MJ, this is crazy because, if you read my bio, it'll say that I'm on recordings with Prince. And it's true. I'm on those 94 East records. I play on those. And Prince is on on those records also, but it's misleading in a sense because we were not in the same studio. It wasn't
exactly.
It was a decade apart. He played his tracks, back in the 70s, and then I played my tracks in the 80s and added to what he had already done. But then when Pepe put out these albums, they're just a compilation of Prince's
right.
cut.
But
And
you know what? You are part of the recording, so it doesn't matter if it was recorded 70s and in 80s. You are part of the process. So that's a great accomplishment, actually. And
crazy.
So you can always say, I've worked with Prince. So that's pretty, you've never seen him, but you were part of the process in a different decade. So that's amazing. So with that said, how do you create your original sound? Did you, get some influences from Prince as well? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, just to continue from, you asked how I became a tribute artist, and Dr. Fink, who I worked with many times, and he was part of that engineering process of 94 East. He and I formed the band together. So from day one, normally if you start a new project, you have to play the local clubs, small stages, earn a reputation, hope to someday get on a national platform, et cetera, et cetera. We accomplished that day one. Our first show was actually in California. And the reason that we were on a national stage is because my project boasted the original member of Prince and the Revolution playing keyboards, and Prince was very much alive at that time. And it was with his full knowledge and understanding that we were doing this project. As far as where do I get my influence? Well, Minneapolis, you could take the kid out of Minneapolis, but you can never take Minneapolis out of the man. So being around it, Prince's influence, certainly. But I also really tap into Prince's jazz influence. Prince was a serious jazz musician disguised as a pop star. So
yeah. I heard about his father. He's part of the pro jazz band in Midwest. Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
And I heard, his dad is actually Italian Filipino. It's so it's a cool background.
Yeah. His father passed away quite a few years ago. But his sister, Prince's sister Sharon, put out some records of John Nelson, and Sharon and I have collaborated. So Prince's sister and I wrote some songs together, and those are all online right now if you want to go check those out.
So with that said, I heard that you have this new song. What is this all about? Is this your first ever original song by Marshall Charloff?
No, not even close. So I was able to produce and record for the Commodores when I was 22 years old. So to have multi-platinum Grammy award-winning, my credit as a writer at such an early age really set the stage for being a producer and a writer of other things. I was able to produce Little Anthony and the Imperials as he was going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as well. Lip Sync, Deborah Laws, there's so many folks. And even you mentioned Selena Gomez and all those pop icons. As my writing partner John Fields produced Selena's album, and Jonas Brothers and everybody's. And then he works with me on my new album. There's a couple songs produced by John and myself, John Fields. So no, I wouldn't say I'm as prolific as, nowhere near Prince or some other folks, but as far as my published originals, I've been doing it since I was 20, and I'm well past that now. Well,
you are creating your own name, and I want people to get to know that, and you are very talented. So with that said, can you tell us about something that most of your fans doesn't know about you yet?
What people don't know is that I'm not the most successful Charloff in music. My uncle, my dad's brother, is a world-class, world-famous composer and conductor of the Jerusalem Symphony Orchestra in Israel. So I'm the second most famous musical Charloff. And to be a kid growing up knowing your uncle
Yes.
Composes and conducts symphony orchestras, I kind of figure, well, I probably have some genes that are predisposed to be good at this. Even though I had no formal training, I was like, I might be good at this. So people don't know that. I mean, that's a leg up to just have the psyche of, I probably can do it.
Wow. So can you give us a little sample of your single? Just we want our audience to kind of hear your style. Give us some lines.
Well,
I know I put you on the spot, but yeah, we want to hear it.
Oh, well, it's on Spotify, it's on iTunes.
Yes, but we want to get the clip, and people will be curious about your sound. We want to hear a little bit of that.
I would have to pull up a clip for you. I can get it to you.
Just give us a line with this interview, a line of the song, so we could really hear your style.
All right, what's my... Somebody call a doctor. It's about to get sick. I don't need no other medicine but a snare drum and a kick. It's gonna get funky once you throw me my hat and those keys. A slapping bass and a funky guitar, Minneapolis, if you please.
Wow, that's really, really cool. Love that. So at least now, you know, it's funky, jazzy, pop, that kind of style.
Well, that song is really, the lyrics of it are really, the storytelling. It's a history lesson of the Minneapolis sound. So people are just discovering it. They're going, what's it all about? I literally go through the different artists that came out of Minneapolis and what their impact was.
Oh, that's amazing. So they could really connect. Like, if you want to learn more about our culture and our place, there you go. This is the song for you.
Well, yeah, there's
awesome.
a lyric video, which is on YouTube. Well,
and
the lyrics
what's
go
the
by
title of the song?
Minneapolis Sound.
That's it. Wow.
Yeah. And then it goes through and it shows you, it highlights, like it'll say Jam and Lewis. Like, you know who Vanity is? Remember, Vanity was one of his spin-off artists, girlfriend of Prince's. But my point is, like,
maybe I'm still like super young at the time, so I can't.
Say it again?
Maybe I was super young, that's why I don't know about it.
Yeah, rub it in. I think you were super young probably when Vanity was around. But anyway, I reference everybody, and you can check it out in the.
That's amazing. How you really connect your roots to really bring out the best in you with your music and all your influences with your culture there in Minnesota. So I know with your journey as a music artist, and then doing an official pay tribute to Prince, what are the lessons that we can learn from your journey?
From my journey? Well, really, I set out to do music because, well, to be honest, originally for girls, like I said, and that's what anybody that tells you otherwise is lying. That's why everybody starts. But then then the love affair begins, where you now have a relationship with your music. It becomes a part of you. Earning money and making a living at it was not at the forefront of why I did it. It was always secondary. The fact that I've been fortunate to make money at it, truly, that is icing on the cake. Meaning, I would do it anyway. 100% I would do it if I made no money. It's not a choice. So the only, I guess, words of encouragement that I would offer to folks, especially now when it's very difficult to monetize your music, it's a whole different ballgame. You do it because that's what you do. If you're a writer, you write. If you're a painter, you paint. If you're a composer, you compose. If you're not, you're posing. Take the comp off of composition, you're just posing. So I think if you can take that pressure off of yourself as an artist and say, maybe I'll make money at this, maybe I won't. You still gotta pay the bills, and you probably gotta get a gig, whatever, just a menial job. But if your craft really is an extension of your soul, then just do music because that's what you do. And if you get paid, amazing. And
So
I don't know
it's meaning to say that it's your passion. You're passionate about what you're doing. It doesn't
Yep.
matter if you make the money or not, but it's better if you get compensated, of course, because you pay those bills. But anyway, that's well said, Marshall. And let's go with the fun part. I think our interview is a little bit serious. So, what you've been doing amid quarantine? How you holding up when boredom strikes? So, what do you do?
Well, I was able to finish my second album, and
Wow, that's awesome.
fortunately, I have a studio in my home, which most people do
That's
these
a
days.
privilege. You're lucky to have that. Yes.
Extremely lucky. I'm able to play all the instruments and do it myself, so social distancing wasn't a problem.
Wow.
I actually had a collaboration though on Minneapolis Sound. I did it as an instrumental, and my friend Jason Peterson, who played with Prince, and he's Michael Bolton's saxophone player,
Mhm.
and he from his house recorded a sax part, emailed me the WAV file, and I threw it into my song. So I was able to still do a collaboration
That's
during
amazing.
quarantine, and we weren't even in the same state.
Exactly. That's the power of technology. So I'm glad that you are taking advantage of that, like this interview.
Right.
Yeah, let me just touch on this. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Mark Daniels. Actually, originally he's my followers. Actually, he's been following me, and now he's part of Social Dragon PR, and it's amazing. And he mentioned you about you being an artist and doing pay per view with Prince. So now here we are. So with that said, invite everyone to check out your latest single.
Oh, you just did. MarshallCharloff.com is really a good resource for anything going on with me. Otherwise, it's on Spotify, and the YouTube is where you can find the lyric video. My last album is called Marshall 11. That's available everywhere. And then the new album is called Unperfect. And I'll be
Unperfect.
releasing singles after single for the rest of the year. And then release, hopefully when this is all over, then I'll release the full album. But
So one last question. I know all the Prince fanatic out there would like to get, wants your answer to this. Are you planning to do an online concert just for, all the Prince fanatic out there?
yeah, that's a great question. And that was the other thing I've been doing during quarantine, is watching so many other musicians bring in their solo show to the world. And I just
Maybe it's about time. It's about time you do it, and I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. Well, so Prince ended his career with the piano and a microphone, and that's all it was. And I think because of social distancing, even when we start to enter back into life as we knew it, I still think mass gatherings and the show that I did where, we're doing Performing Arts Center, 1,200, and we played Red Rocks, 8,000. I think those days might be a minute to come back. but the piano and a microphone with just myself could sustain a smaller, more intimate following. And I do intend to launch that with a virtual concert. Just
can't wait. I can't wait. Well, I'm sure your fans and I'm sure the Prince fanatic would like to really would like to see that as well.
Yeah, it's pretty raw, but it's all things that I love. It's connecting to the piano and myself, and I'll do some original songs during that performance. But yeah, so I've been working on that actually.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being privileged to do my interview to you, Marshall Charloff. And yes, and thank you so much.
Thank you, buddy. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, Marshall Charloff, for being on the show. Until next time, I'm your host, MJ Racadio, and you are watching Entertainment Vlog. We live in interesting times. Bye, guys.